Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, here with another in the Critter Card series part 4, and this is going to be the Cunning Fox. So this is the fox that we're aiming for, so he's a little cute fox rather than a nasty looking one that you might be a bit concerned about. This is the pieces broken down. Here's a matting layer that I've created, and you can see the dimensions are 5.16 inches for this square and 4.66 inches for the smaller of the two. And all I've done once I've done that is go to add a offset line, gone to about, I think I chose 0.08 and said okay, I'm not going to do it again because I've already done it. And then in the properties box, making sure that it's that central line that you've just created that is selected. Make it a drawing line and then a dashed line. If you do need any more information on making 4 stitches, I do have a video on my channel. Just look for it and you'll see that it does show you how to do this step by step. Now, so these are the shapes that we're going to need to make the fox. I'm just going to delete them for now. And we're going to keep this little fella off to the right as a reference. So I'm going to open my properties box because I'm going to be needing to change the size of things as we work along with our fox. And I'm just going to move the matting layers out of the way for now. So the first thing we need is the shape for the head, which is a basic oval. Just have to excuse me while I do refer to my notes. And we're going to open the basic oval, just a plain oval, and we need to resize that to 1.84 by 2.31 inches. So enter, and I just made sure that the aspect ratio button was deselected at that point to make sure that I could resize the height and the width independently. So now I'm going to change the colour to that kind of reddy fox colour. This is just purely for on the screen purposes so we can see what we're doing. I've hit D on my keyboard to make a duplicate, and I'm going to change this one to a nice cream colour for that two-tone effect of the fox. So the next thing to do is to create the head part here that has the cut-out part for the fox's nose. Now in order to do that, you need to bring on a circle and resize it to about, I'm going to click the aspect ratio because I want this to stay proportional, and I am going to change it to about 1 inch, and I'm going to click off and on so that I know I'm on that, hit D on my keyboard, and then I'm going to position on the fox so that we can see that kind of shape that would be there if these were taken. So I'm just going to highlight both by clicking both with my shift key held down, and I'm going to align them at the top. Then I'm going to make them a group because that way then I can center them to the oval shape underneath by going edit center vertically. I'm not going to do it middle because I do actually want them to be perhaps a little bit lower, so I might just lower them down just a little bit because I'm looking for that kind of nearly a pointed shape for the nose. So again, I'll just make sure that that's still centered by hitting center there. Then I'm going to highlight both and go to edit, process the overlap and remove the overlap. So now when I move the circles out of the way, you can see we have that part for the fox's face. Okay, so the next step will be to make the fox's body. So again, we need a oval for this, so I'll just duplicate the, we'll just hit that one, hit duplicate, and we're going to resize the body. Siri wants to help, 0.92 and 2.56 inches. Again, we need to make sure that the aspect ratio this time is off, so I just need to repeat that, 1.92 by 2.56, so that I can do that independently. So this will be for the fox's body, and again I'm just going to shade that the brown colour, bring it over to what my shape is building like, and I'm going to edit and send it to the very back. This one would send the layer back one place, this one sends it right to the back. So that's how we're looking. So the next thing that we're going to be making are the tail pieces. So again, we need an oval, so I'm going to click on that one, just make a duplicate of that, and then I can resize it to 0.97 inches by 2.20 inches. Hit return. That gives us a longer, narrow one. Click on, click off, hit D on my keyboard to make a duplicate, and I'm going to turn one of them cream coloured, and that's the one that's going to be behind. So what I want is kind of a jaggedy cutout now on the other part of the tail to get that jaggedy effect like so. So I'm going to achieve that by selecting the scalloped square shape, and it's the one that has the smallest scallops, and I'm going to resize those to about 1 inch square. So 1 by 1. Hit return, and that's our little square. And then I want to bring that square roughly about 1/3 of the way from the end of the tail. Then I'm going to select both, hit edit, process the overlap, and remove the overlap. Then when I remove the square, if I bring that one in, you can see now that we've got that nice jaggedy effect. And then we're going to go edit, process the overlap process the overlap on the horizontal axis and also to the left. And that kind of gives, just move that a tad, I think I'll just redo that. So that's the tail. I'm just going to group it temporarily so I can move it over to my position, and I'm going to rotate, put it in position-ish, and then send it to the back. And this is just purely to look at the shapes and how they're coming together so that I know that I'm getting to where I want to be. And I'm going to ungroup that so that when I get my shapes together a little bit later on, I can group them by colour. So the next step is to make the front legs, and for doing that, down near where the egg shape is, you'll find this shape next to it, and it looks like a sort of extended sort of, I don't really know what kind, sort of a pear shape almost. And for that, we're going to resize to 1.83 inches by 0.66 inches. And say OK, and that is making that leg shape. Now, we also need to have the paw part of that, because obviously that's just straight at the moment. Now, to make that, we do need the egg shape, and we need to resize to 0.51, so 0.51 by 0.41. So resize that and say OK, and that has given us a nice shape that we can now line up vertically with the leg. I might just scooch it up just a tad, and then when I'm happy with its position, I'm going to go edit and weld, and that's given us that kind of a paw shape. Then I'm going to turn it to the red foxy colour, hit D on my keyboard for the duplicate, bring them into position, and this time I don't want them to be all the way to the back. I need them to go back layer by layer until they are under the head, but yet still on top of the body, if you will, just so that we can see them. Obviously this is just purely for screen purposes, so we can see what we're actually doing. So there we've got our paws in position, the front paws of the fox. Now obviously you can make minor adjustments to them when you're actually gluing and sticking them in the real time, if you will. Right, so the next thing that we're going to make are the fox's eyes. So again, we're going to need an oval shape, so I might as well use I've deleted that one, so I'll hit that again, go on to it, hit D to make a duplicate, and these will be for the whites of the eyes, and they're going to be 0.48 inches by 0.3 inches. So 0.48 by 0.3. Hit enter and change them to white. And again, I'm going to need 2 of those. So I'll hit D on my keyboard, and that's for the whites of the eyes. Now, these need to be right at the top. So I'm going to go edit. So we need to group them first before it'll let us bring the whole layer to the top. And that then means we can move them into position. I'm just going to ungroup them for now. Sorry, ungroup them. It didn't quite register. It's not ungrouping for some reason. Okay, so let's undo that. Might want us to do it individually. Well, they seem to be on the top now, so we'll go with that. And again, we're going to move the eyes into position where they look okay. So obviously you can make the minor adjustments as you will. Next, we're going to make the circles. We've already got a circle on from before. These need to be black, and we need to resize them down. So I'm going to resize, shrink them down, and then put them in position a little bit small. So I'm just doing this by eye. And we'll position those into the whites of the eye. Just going to make a save so that I don't lose my work. It's always a good idea to do that. And then I'm just going to refresh because I think something on the software has crashed. So we should now get our properties box back with the sizing in. And if that happens to you, that's what you need to do. Save your work. It can be a bit frustrating when you're working and it suddenly stops working the way you feel it should. And I just need to bring that pupil to the top. So raise it to the top and again, position it over the whites of the eye. And I think what I'll do is maybe see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see what we're doing. And I'm going to just duplicate those 2 by clicking on just those 2, if it'll let me. So that's where we are. And I'm going to hit duplicate so that then I can move that one into position and this one into position for our fox's eyes. Now obviously he looks a little bit cockeyed at the minute, but obviously when you stick him down it'll be perfect. So I'm going to zoom back out again, so that's where we're up to. So now we're going to make the back legs. So we're going to bring on the shape that we used before. This shape. And we're going to resize it to 1.12 by 0.72. Okay, and move it out the way so we can see. We need 2 of those, and again we need them to be the brown colour, and this time we need it to be at the very back, so I'm going to send it to the very back, rotate it a little, bring it in, and that's kind of the haunches of the fox. So again, send that one to the very back and bring that one in again for the haunches of the fox, if you will. That needs to just come forward by 1 layer. So that's where we just select this one. So it wants to go up, but just 1 layer. Still not quite above the fox. We'll try it once more. Above 1 layer, and that's got it now, so it's above. This is just, like I say, purely for on the screen, and you can see what we're doing. Finally, we're going to make the ears, and for that we're using a teardrop shape. So I'm going to bring on the teardrop, and I am going to resize the teardrop to, let's have a see how much to, maybe about 0.73 by 0.5, sorry. And again, I'm just going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing for this part. So there's our teardrop shape. Okay, I'm going to hit the selection tool, and then I'm going to double click to expose the nodes. And all I'm going to do is take this line, and I'm going to hit one of the nodes, and I'm going to drag it in like so. So I'm getting like that ear shape. Now, once I've done that, I can zoom back out again. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and every ear might be slightly different, but it just gives your fox a little bit of character. So again, I'm going to duplicate by hitting D, and I'm going to flip it on the vertical axis, and I'm going to position at the fox's head, move it into position. I'm going to change them to brown and brown. Okay, so again, we've got the brown ears. I'm just going to make a duplicate of that. I'm going to resize it slightly just by clicking once, and then I'm going to change its colour to cream. I'm going to hit D on my keyboard and edit, flip on the vertical axis, and again move that into position for the ears. Just use my keyboard, and similarly with this one. And that's the fox complete. Now obviously you could send those, group them and send them right to the back so you get an idea what the ears would look like, and obviously then ungroup them. So I'll just send that one back as well. Got the head as well there. So just dragging the box just around the two parts of the ears, edit group them so that I can send the whole layer to the back, and then I'm going to ungroup them. Okay, so that's the ears complete. So that's the fox complete. What I would do next is arrange the pieces in colour order, like so. So all the brown pieces together, all of the cream pieces together, and the white pieces, and the black pieces. And I've just realised we've not done the fox's nose, so I'm just going to make a duplicate of that one for the eye, and I'm going to change the nose to 0.34 by 0.29. Hit return. So now we've got the fox's nose as well. Okay, so I've got everything I need now, so I can get rid of that and the circle and the small bit like so. Now then, if you do want to do some faux stitching on the fox, and it does sometimes help bring it to life, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to show you how to do this. So again, I've zoomed in, I'm making sure I am on the selection tool, and I'm going to highlight all the pieces, first of all, the brown ones that need the faux stitching, and I'm going to edit and group them. Then I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to create an offset. I'm going to shrink the offset into about 0.08 inches, and this time I want it inwards because we want to shrink it in, not out. Say OK, and you'll see that adds a line inside of the shapes. However, the outer shapes at this stage are still grouped together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit and ungroup them. Then I'm going to click in the centre of each shape, carefully holding my shift key down, but being careful not to move any of the shapes as I click in them, or else we could end up with moving them out of place. And then we need to change that to a drawing line and also a dash line, and that's created that. Now I've got a little strange bit there at the bottom of the fox's head. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit there and see if I can't just see what's happening there. So I'm just going to edit, undo that. I'm going to go straight in as far as I need to. I'm going to hit that key and I'm going to hit to see what's going on. Okay, so all that's happened there is it's just trying to do the 4 stitching as we see on that bit. So what you can do is you could delete that again and repeat it just for that one, create an offset and make it a smaller offset, and that'll probably go right the way around, and again then just change it to a drawing line and a dash line, and then you've got that the same. And you could make it that close if you wanted for all of them, or leave the rest as is. So I'm just going to view fit to mat so you can see what we've done, and you would just repeat that with the cream one. So edit, group, edit, add an offset line, make it as small as possible, inward, say OK. Then we're going to edit and ungroup them. Then we're going to carefully, whilst holding the shift key, click in the centre of all the shapes to select the inner line, view the properties, and we're going to change to drawing lines and a dash line. And you can see that's added the 4 stitching to that bit too. So that's it for this video. If you've liked it, please like, share and subscribe. Tell your crafty friends where to find me and look out for my next videos. Thanks. Bye now.